guys, we're right here in the sit down. I wanted to call this the sit down with Andy Vance's volume 1, but obviously it's not a volume 1. It's not gonna be an hour long. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about, for all the boxers, to all the boxers turning pro that are gonna get licensed, whether in California or wherever you're at, and are looking to sign on to somebody and obviously become somebody in the sport and make a name for themselves. What's the best, most probable, successful way to do it? Now, I know there's a lot of fighters that do it from nothing, and I'm not here to talk about stories about boxers that have done it this way or have done it this. There's millions of ways to do it, but I'm gonna sit down and talk to you a little bit about the most probable way to reach success in boxing, as far as, you know, signing on to a manager, getting signed to a big promoter, and just making this happen. A lot of what I'm gonna get into today is you being a boxer with not a record, needing to find a manager, fights, getting a promoter, and at that point, which promoter to seek or go to. I know I get a lot of questions. Who should I go to? Golden Boy or Top Rank? Who's better, PBC or Top Rank? So it's all different for everyone. It depends how you get signed on. So I'm going to get into and explain this. So coming out of the amateurs, the best way to go pro, and this was my goal, this is many people's goal, is to go as far as you can as an amateur, hopefully make it to the Olympics if you can, and get signed on coming out of the Olympics. Why? Because coming out of Olympics, every boxer is technically, they get set with success. Like, their contracts are set, high purses, they get sign-on bonuses up the ass. Whether they're a good pro or not, the fact that they were in the Olympics as an amateur boxer, that has value like no one understands. So before you try to have these fights as an amateur and jump to pro just because you're kind of desperate to go pro, think about this shit. Once you go pro, you can't go back. And as an amateur, if you have a chance to try and see if you can make it, why not try? I mean, I tried it. Once I realized I couldn't, at 21, I turned pro. And look how far I went turning pro at 21. I know a lot of fighters that want to turn pro at 18. Like, hey, there's no rush, dude. Like, even at 21, you'll be able to make shit happen and make a lot happen. Don't feel like there's a rush when you turn 18 and you want to be like this other asshole, the youngest ever, and try to prove a point, and then you get your ass beat later. Like, hey, gain the experience, take your time, win a national tournament, win national Golden Gloves, something big in the amateurs. That way you get signed on to a good promoter, whether it's Top Rank, Golden Boy, you know, Matchroom. The fact that you're coming to the Olympics, getting signed, you're going to be set. Okay, a lot of you guys are probably like, oh, what if I didn't make it to the Olympics? Hold on, fuckers, I'm going to talk to you right now. If you didn't go to the Olympics, like I didn't, and you get these fights, is it going to be harder? For sure. Boxing is hard all around. You always got to outwork your opponent. You always got to outwork everyone in the gym. That's always the way I thought, like, if I want to make it out of here. So turning pro, you got to be very careful on who you fight coming up, because one loss early on in your career can set you back 10 steps. I didn't suffer my first loss until I was 23-0. So think about that for a sec. I didn't suffer one loss, and it was a controversial loss that didn't have happen until I was 23-0. I was hella title. I was undefeated, obviously. Then I took my first loss, but I made a name for myself, got to sign on a promoter. What I suggest you guys doing, everyone has a local promoter. I know here in Northern California, we have Paco Presents. We have some guys down in LA that throw shows. You need to get onto these shows first, these local shows in your area. I know everyone's in different states, but you need to fight locally first. The reason why I say this is because any type of fight you take where, let's say, Golden Boy offers you a fight and they're calling you to fight this guy, most likely you're being sent over there to get your ass beat, because nobody knows you. We probably got a star over here. You probably don't know the guy. He's about to have his debut against you. You being the guy that's coming out of amateurs that nobody knows. So obviously the money's gonna be right. So that's might convince you to go. But you need to realize this: if you're if you join boxing, you want to do boxing like to make money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You gotta do it more because that's your passion and what you want to do. But I would say getting on a local card and being a ticket seller, because when you become a ticket seller, you become a profitable fighter, where they see like, oh man, like let's help this kid, and like he sells tickets, so why not help him and grow him bigger and bigger so he can sell out our shows. That's what I did. But before you start doing that right away, if you want to have more of a good choice, good way to go forward, is I would seek. It's tough nowadays, but I would seek a manager. I would talk to people. Network, right? That's why we have Instagram. That's why I have us start contacting different type of fighters, see who their manager is, see who their manager manage, right? Don't just go with any manager. You got to make sure that manager has these type of fighters and they brought them up or whatever their record is. You see a lot of managers nowadays trying to pick up fighters just to throw them in fights to get their ass beat. And everyone in this business is just trying to make money. Just remember that. No one's trying to be your friend. No one's trying to help you. I got lucky with a good manager that was just trying to help me. Literally was just a good person, good guy. Helped me fight locally and built my record up. Now, once you guys get a manager, once you get fights, I didn't sign on to Top Rank until I was 12-0. 8 knockouts. That's a badass record. 12-0, 8 knockouts. I had fought on Fox Sports 1 like 3 times. You guys need to build your record up. Maybe 8 fights, maybe 10 fights, maybe 12 fights. I think that's a good amount of fights to get a profitable offer for a promotional company like Golden Boy, Top Rank, and Matchroom. Now, here's where a lot of people might disagree, might start leaving comments, but it gets very selective once you get at the high level to sign on to a promoter. You guys gotta remember, Golden Boy has all the Mexican fighters. PBC has all the black, all the African fighters that they're helping to promote. Top Rank, I'm not saying this in a bad way, it's ran by Jews, so they got their own little agenda going on. They pretty much promote every fighter, any color, whatever. They've done it all these years since Muhammad Ali, but they have a little schedule and a way of doing things as far as an agenda of how this shit's gonna go down. This is where a manager is very important. This is why I'm telling you guys, before signing on to a promoter, make sure you got a manager behind you before jumping into shit. Because if you're signed on for the wrong reasons, because a lot of fighters, they'll sign them to make them stars, but there's other fighters where they'll sign them on just to carry them through, because at the end of the day, we're going to use this guy for Vences, so we're going to use this guy for Valdez, or you know what, we're going to use this guy for this guy. Like, oh, you know what? Once he's good enough, we'll feed him to Shakur. Like, it's just how it happens, bro. It's a business. Like, they gotta sign fighters and help fighters, but at the end of the day, they gotta build records, and here's the fight, right? It's the hype, undefeated versus undefeated, not knowing that this guy was signed on for this guy, because they already know clearly this guy's levels above. But there is your little payday, you're all happy and shit, and then you make it happen. And Top Rank's probably one of the promoters that, depending who you are, they're gonna pay you money. But in general, I don't think they. You guys heard Teofimo made $1 million being a lineal champion and winning the belts against Charles Taylor. Like, $1 million bucks, move it to 140 and everything. Like, hey, it's a tough risk. It's a big fight. So a lot of other companies would have paid more. I heard Devin Haney didn't make too much money fighting Kambosos the first time around. So again, don't do it for the money though. Do it because you want to be someone, be a figure. I think it all matters as far as why you're pursuing this career in boxing. But this is the best way I would suggest every fighter to come up in boxing and get signed to a promoter. First, fight on local events. If you're not a name, get the right fights. Make sure you have someone behind you that knows boxing, knows styles, knows fights, and is going to look out for you. If that's a manager, great. Build your record up, 8-0, 10-0, maybe 12-0 if that's great. And then get picked up. People are more likely to invest in you when your record's built, because they don't have to invest money to put you on, to get you these fights, to get you these opponents. You're already 12-0, you're ready to go. We're going to start this guy off at 8 rounds, 10 rounds. We're going to see where he's at 8 rounds, and guess what? He's fighting his 10-round fights. So, like I said, patience. Don't rush anything. Don't rush your age. And when you turn pro, don't rush the amount of rounds you fight. Remember, same thing. When you fight 4-rounders, once you go to 6, you can't go back to 4. So take your time. I had 6 pro fights at 4 rounds before I went to 6 rounds. So I was fighting 4-rounders, so I was 6-0, and then I was fighting 6-rounders on my 7th pro fight. So I know a lot of people that just fight more rounds sooner, but we weren't in a rush because my manager told me experience is key and rounds are key. Once you go to 6 rounds, you can't go to 4. Once you go to 8, you can't go back to 6. And as you increase the rounds, guess what? Your opponents get better and better and better, because there's people that know boxing, fighters know boxing. So anyways, guys, the best way for a boxer to sign on to a promoter with no experience, and the goal as an amateur before turning pro. Don't forget the objective. If you want the best offer, make it happen, make it right, but at the same time, be wise.